Hey everyone, welcome back to Marketing on Point, the podcast that helps you connect, convert, and stand out online. I am Matt Hadley, founder of Wander Creative, a full-service marketing and creative agency based in Nashville, Tennessee. So summer is fully upon us, and if you're like me, you might be feeling a little like your brand needs a reset. Maybe your content feels stale, your messaging feels fuzzy, or you've just been thinking, maybe we just need a full out rebrand. If that is you, then this episode is for you. So today we're going to be talking about what I call the brand refresh mindset. And within that, we're going to be talking about why sometimes the smartest move that you can make isn't necessarily launching something completely new, but really looking and resetting and reconnecting and refreshing with what you already have. Honestly, I feel like this time of year is the perfect window to do it. Usually summer tends to be a little bit slower for most businesses, right before the chaos of the back half of the year, of the fall years, where you're getting into holiday season and all of that. So right now really is the kind of that strategic time to zoom out, get a clear picture of what is happening within your brand and kind of reset. And then you can ramp back up into September and quarter four and go from there. So if your brand's been feeling off, I would challenge you to think like, okay, now is the moment to realign. Now is the moment to reassess. And to help you do that, we're launching a new free challenge that's actually going to be starting here shortly. It's going to be starting on August 18th, and we're calling it the Brand Refresh Challenge, 10 days to a sharper brand. So our plan right now is only to take 10 brands through it. And I'll share at the end of this episode how to apply to be a part of that. But I think even if you don't join us for the full challenge, I think that there's still a lot of things that we're going to be walking through during those 10 days with those 10 brands that can apply to everyone. So I want to talk about the real reasons brands lose momentum, how to get it back, and some of the 10 areas that we're going to be looking at in the Brand Refresh Challenge and how you can implement them into your business and your brand. So, all right, let's go and get going. Welcome to Marketing on Point, the podcast where strategy meets clarity. Every episode, we break down real-world strategies, stories, and impactful tactics to help you grow your brand. Let's dive in. I want you to think of your brand like a house. You know, over time, even the best houses, they need maintenance. You know, paint fades, furniture just kind of starts to get old, or, you know, things pile up. You add one thing, then another, and before long, it just doesn't necessarily feel like you anymore. It doesn't feel like the original house that you envisioned when you first moved in. Most people, when that happens, they paint the walls, they move the furniture around. Maybe they go out and buy a new couch. If you are really crazy, you just say, you know what? We're moving. We're going to sell this house. We're just going to start over completely new. But I feel like the real work is, you know, it sometimes I guess can be deeper in a way. Like, it's not necessarily just about the walls, but it's about the why. Why did you fall in love with that house to begin with? When you very first purchased the house, what were the reasons that you fell in love? And how can you show that aspect of the house off again? Or if something has fallen into disarray, how can you refresh that and upkeep and bring that and have just general maintenance and upkeep to be able to show it off again? I think the same goes with our brand and with our business. A lot of people think that they need, like, when things start to feel stale, things start to feel like it's not going and doesn't have momentum anymore, whatever the case might be. A lot of people think that they need a full visual rebrand. But what they really need is more of a reconnection. They need to reconnect with their purpose, reconnect with their audience, or reconnect to their voice, vision, and even values. And maybe it is because your content isn't working, or your sales are flat, or engagement is down. But usually those things aren't necessarily a visual issue. Those things are usually more of a clarity issue. I had this thought the other day. You know how people always say blue is the new black, or pink is the new black? Like, whatever's the trending baseline Like that is the new baseline for that style. Well, what if clarity is the new creativity? What I mean by that is like, what if the most compelling thing about your brand isn't how clever it is, but how clear it is? Because in a world full of noise, clarity is what typically cuts through. When your message is clear, your creativity actually lands. You can't create standout content when your brand message is muddy. So let's talk about what a real brand refresh actually looks like. I can first tell you that it's not about logos necessarily. It's not about color palettes. It's not even necessarily about Instagram templates. It's more about realigning your brand around the things that matter most. And I mentioned the 10-day challenge that we're about to be hosting. And as we gear up for that here at Wander Creative, and as we gear up to host that 10-day challenge, we're going to be walking 10 brands through 10 key areas designed to sharpen and refocus how they're showing up online. These are really the exact same areas that we guide our full service clients through in our flagship service offering. And I'm telling you that when these 10 things are aligned and they're clear and they're dialed in, your brand isn't going to just look better. It's going to work better. The content's going to perform better. Messaging is going to hit harder. Audiences are going to engage more. So I want to work through all 10 of those real quick. And again, these are the 10 things. We're going to deep dive on each 10 of these within the challenge, but I want to just give you a preview of what the 10 are, kind of a high level overview of what the 10 are. And if you want to go deeper into any of these 10, I encourage you to apply to join this challenge. And it's going to really be transformative. But here's just an overview. So the first thing we're going to start with, number one, is purpose. You have to ask yourself, why do we exist right now? Not necessarily why we existed when we launched, not necessarily what was our mission statement 5 years ago, but what is driving you today? Because when your why is foggy, when you get like confused on what your purpose is in this moment, your content starts to get confusing. Your story starts to get muddy. Then your strategy feels scattered and your audience can feel it. They can sense it. It's not as easy for them to keep track of what's going on. I don't remember if you remember the stat from last episode, but usually the audience, when they see a piece of content in their feed, they're only engaging with you for about 1.3 seconds before they decide if they want to move on or to actually engage and consume more. So you have 1.3 seconds to be crystal clear on your purpose, on your why. When your purpose is sharp, your message is going to cut through. If your purpose is fuzzy, people are just going to keep on scrolling. The second thing, number two, is audience. Who are you really talking to? Again, just like number one, not who you were talking to 5 years ago when you first launched. I don't even want you to be as vague as, oh, our brand reaches women ages 25 to 45 and they're small business owners. I'm more talking about the actual singular person that you are trying to reach. We've talked about this a few times on this podcast of when you, the general tendency with marketing is how can we get the message as wide and broad and spread out as possible? But really, when you start to hone in on this is the singular person I am talking to, then you actually start talking more wide. So think about, am I talking about the actual person that I'm wanting to reach? Am I talking to that actual person? The one who needs what I have to offer, the one who's scrolling right now looking for someone who gets them, someone who understands where they're at and has a clear offering and benefit of how they are going to fill a hole or fill a gap in their life. We want people to get down, again, we want people to get down to a singular person, a brand persona, if you will, that you know, like really, really know. You know what that person's struggling with. You know what they care about. You know what would make them stop mid-scroll and say, oh, this is for me. Because when you shift from thinking about an audience to thinking about a person, honestly, you start writing differently. You start creating content differently. You start showing up more human, more relatable, more clear. And if your audience has shifted over the years, and let's be honest, it probably has, now is your time to shift with them. You need to shift. Your content needs to shift. You can't keep talking to your 2019 audience in 2025. You have to shift. Otherwise, you have to expect some mud. You have to expect some, like, if you want traction, shift with them. So that's number 2, your audience. Number 3 is really positioning. What makes you different? Not just in theory, but in practice. What do you actually bring to the table that others don't? Why should someone choose you over the next 10 scrollable options? Because let's be honest, if you are in just about any industry and the algorithms are the way they are, someone is scrolling, they see your content, 2 or 3 scrolls later, they're going to see a competitor's piece of content, or they're going to see someone who offers something similar that could probably be the same benefit. And if that person offers it to them in a more compelling way, they're going to completely forget about you and they're going to move on. But what makes you different? What makes you different than that person 2, 3 scrolls away? You know, what sets you apart? This is where a lot of brands blur into the background because they haven't truly claimed their lane. Positioning is about finding your edge and truly owning it. It's what separates you from the noise and gives people a reason to remember you. Honestly, here's the thing. If you can't articulate what makes your brand different, your audience won't be able to either. So this is something I want you to spend a lot of time on, is because this is probably one of the biggest sticking points. Again, if you can't articulate it, there's no way in the world your audience is going to be able to articulate it. And we want clarity. So spend some time with what makes you different and how you can articulate that. 4th thing is messaging. Let me be blunt here. Are you actually saying something that matters, or are you just filling space with words? Most brands, they talk a lot, but honestly, they don't say much. Your message has to be crystal clear. It should reflect your purpose, it should speak to your audience, and it should position you with confidence. And it doesn't need to be fancy. It just needs to be felt. It needs to be something that makes people move. Great messaging makes someone say, "That is me. I needed to hear that." If you're just blending in, then it really is time to sharpen what you're saying and why you're saying that. So the 5th thing is brand expression. This is where your brand steps into the room. It's the look, the feel, the voice, the vibe. How you show up visually and verbally is a huge part of how people experience your brand. So when you're thinking about your brand expression, ask yourself, do you look like the brand we say, or do you look like the brand you say that you are? Do you sound like the kind of brand your audience actually wants to connect with? It doesn't have to be perfect, but it should be intentional, because your audience is going to feel the disconnect if your tone says luxury, but your visuals say stock photo starter pack. Do you get what I'm saying there? You want to make sure that if you are trying to have an elevated feel, if you are trying to showcase an elevated life, you don't want it to look like you just went and hired someone on Fiverr for $20, $50, whatever it is, and they're running your socials for you. When your brand expression is dialed in, though, that's when you're going to start to dive into trust. That's when people are going to start to trust you, and that's when you're going to start seeing traction. The 6th thing is platform focus. Honestly, this one's simple. I don't think we need to spend a lot of time here. Are you spending time on the right platforms? The tendency, the temptation is that you try to be everywhere because you feel like you should. You're on TikTok, you're on X, you're on Instagram, you're on YouTube, you're on Pinterest, you're on all of the places. But honestly, I don't think that not every brand needs to be on every platform. You just need to be on the right platforms for your brand. This kind of goes back a little bit earlier in knowing your audience. Where are they spending time? Where are they online at? Where are they getting their information? If you know the right platforms for your brand, for your audience, for your goals, you will succeed. You don't have to chase every trend, but you do have to show up with purpose where it counts. If you've been burning energy on platforms that don't move the needle, honestly, it's time to recalibrate and figure out, here are the handful of platforms I should be on and how I'm going to show up intentionally on those. The seventh thing is content strategy. Now we're really kind of getting into the engine of your brand. Are you creating content with a clear plan, or are you just posting because it's been a few days? At Wander, we always ask the question of, what's the point of this post? Every piece of content you publish needs to serve a purpose, whether that's building trust, delivering value, communicating a message, moving people somewhere closer to action. If it's not doing one of those things, then why are you posting? It probably is just noise. Yes, likes are cool. You need stuff on your feed. You need to keep showing up. But alignment is better. And strategy always beats guesswork. The eighth thing is proof and perception. Now, this one's big. Are you giving people a reason to believe in what you offer? Because just saying we are great is not enough. People want to see the proof. They want to see testimonials, transformations, real results, stories that stick. And on the flip side, what's the perception of your brand from the outside looking in? You might feel confident on the inside, but if your brand looks chaotic or forgettable on the outside, that's how people are going to perceive you. You have to look at your social media and your entire digital branding footprint and marketing footprint as kind of your storefront. This is the first thing that people are going to see. If you walk by a store and it's just a completely disheveled mess, you're probably not going to think, oh, I need to go into this luxury boutique. No, you're going to think, oh, maybe like they'll have some good deals because, it looks like a pawn shop. So you have to make sure that however you are, and nothing wrong with pawn shops, don't get me wrong, but that storefront is how you want people to feel. You want people to have that proof. You want people to have that perception. And so this is really about earning trust, and that's earning trust in a visually, emotionally incredible way. Number 9, the 9th thing that we're going to be talking about and that I want you to think about as you're thinking through a brand refresh is consistency. This is where things either come together or they fall apart. You could have done the other 8 things, gone through the entire process. You could have the best purpose, the clearest message, the sharpest visuals, but if you're not consistent, it's not going to stick. Consistency really does build trust. It tells people we're the same brand every time you meet us. This doesn't necessarily mean boring. It really means aligned. It means your Instagram, your website, your email footer, your voice all feels like they belong in the same story and they're moving your audience to the same outcome. Because confusion loses customers. But if you are consistent in everywhere that you show up, you are going to create a memorable experience, and you're also going to create confidence within your audience. Finally, the last thing, momentum. This is kind of that zoom out moment where you ask, are we actually growing or are we just maintaining? Are we evolving? Are we improving? Or are we just on autopilot doing what we've always done, hoping for better results? Momentum isn't necessarily about speed. It's not necessarily about, even though we just got done talking about consistency, it's not necessarily even just about showing up, because if you just show up for the sake of showing up, then you have to have all the other things behind it. Momentum is more about direction. It's more about, do we know where we're going? Do we know where we're moving our audience towards? You don't need to go viral, but you do need to move forward. And if you're not seeing signs of movement, then this right now is your invitation to make a shift. So those are the 10 things. If none of them made you pause and think deeper about what you're doing to show up, then I'm sorry, but you're not building a brand. You're literally playing with a hobby. If none of those 10 things made you think, oh, I could be investing in that area better, then I challenge you to really evaluate and really look in the mirror and be honest, because this isn't about cute ideas. This is about building something real, something that moves people, something that grows. And if you genuinely care about your brand, these 10 areas are really where I encourage you to pour into. You should be obsessing over these 10 things. Every post, every piece of content, every touch point, it all should flow from the foundation that you've built or you've ignored. And I want you to build on a solid foundation. So back at the beginning of the episode, I mentioned that within Wander, we are launching what we are calling the Brand Refresh Challenge. So from August 18th to August 29th, we're going to be running a focused, fast-paced 10-day challenge. Every weekday for 2 weeks, Monday through Friday, we are going to do 10 check-ins, 10 guided action steps, 10 ways to refresh how you are showing up online. And honestly, this challenge, this type of work is what sharp brands make time for. They make time for brand work, clarity work, strategy work. The kind of brand that we are looking for is one that wants to create traction, create trust, and create momentum that will carry into this fall and honestly even into the new year. This is the kind of work that honestly most people avoid because it forces decisions, not just ideas. And part of the reason that we're only taking 10 brands is because of that. We want to be very intentional about who goes along this journey with us. So each one of these brands are going to get emailed every single day a direct link of here is what you want, what you need to be challenged to do during this day, what we want you to do, how we can coach you and direct you through the process. And the best part about this is we've done it in a way where it's all going to be for free. But again, we're only taking 10 brands. So you do have to apply for it. It is completely for free for those 10 brands. And by the end of the challenge, you're going to walk away with a clearer message, a sharper, more aligned presence, and a brand that actually reflects what makes you different. If you've ever been curious about working with us, or if you've ever felt just like your brand has potential but isn't quite hitting, this is your front row seat to kind of get into what it's like to be a part of the Wander Creative family. I want to invite you to apply now. You can go to wandercreative.com/refresh and kind of see some more details there, sign up and apply to be a part of this. Again, we're only taking 10 brands, so I feel like these are, especially since it's free, I imagine it's going to fill up quick. So go and do that now. And maybe this challenge isn't for you right now. Like maybe you are already overloaded with work or you're already overloaded with something, but maybe you are thinking about someone who could use this and who could use this type of strategic thinking within their artistry or their business or their team or organization. Go ahead and share this. Like make sure that everyone knows about it. Make sure that that people have the opportunity to be able to make their brand stronger and make their business stronger. So all of this to say, if something's fell off lately within your brand, hopefully these 10 things, not hopefully, I genuinely believe these 10 things will really help you sharpen your edge and realign your vision. Honestly, even if things are going really well, I still think these 10 things can help your brand stand out and build on a strong, solid ground. So this is your moment. Clarity isn't just for brands in crisis. It is for brands with ambition. So whether it's your purpose that needs revisiting, your audience that needs redefining, your content that needs realigning, go through the 10 pillars that we just outlined in this episode, walk through them today one at a time with intention and focus. Really obsess about those pillars, think about them, reflect on them, and you will start to see traction if you really dive in and hook into those 10 things. So whether you're thinking about joining us for the Brand Refresh Challenge or not, remember those 10 ways to show up sharper, bolder, and more you. And if you do want to join us for the challenge, reminder, we kick off on Monday, August 18th, and there's only 10 spots. So head over to wandercreative.com/refresh and apply now. Again, 10 spots, completely free, which means they're probably going to fill up very fast. And once they're full, they are full. Don't miss it. So, yeah, I'm really bad at landing the plane. I've realized this over the past couple of days. So that's all I have to say. Thanks for being here. Now go lead with clarity, and I will see you next time. Thanks for listening to Marketing on Point. This podcast is all about helping you show up with clarity, connect with the right audience, and build a brand that actually grows. It's brought to you by Wander Creative, your full service partner for strategy, content, and execution that moves people. If this episode helped you think differently, do us a favor, subscribe, share it with a friend, and leave a quick review. It helps more people discover the show and build brands that actually make an impact. We'll see you next time.